First and foremost, congratulations are in order. ASAP Rocky, New
I
York
think
did it again.
I think you're gonna quote J. Cole. I think you were like first things first. Rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
That as well. Rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real. The only father that we ever knew. You know what I'm saying? Now
Say, bitch,
ASAP Rocky
pregnant. I'm
grew
gonna be
up
a
to
better
be a
you.
better you.
Ran it up like Forrest Gump, mixed with Usain Bolt, but you never really made it back. You kept paving waves. When I spin the globe, I'm connected across the map. I'm a walk-in business brand. I'm a mogul with an LLC. What you telling me?
Hey, it's your boy Faking No Moves, the No Politics podcast. I'm with my people as always.
Yeah, Eric BNYC over here in the
Working
building.
genius. Working
Or,
genius. Also in the building, in a different building,
Yeah. We
but
in the
you
building
know,
always. It
you
don't
know
matter. It
what it
don't
is.
gotta be the same building.
3 different ones.
Yep.
Yeah, man, let's go, man. It's pandemic, COVID era. Like, no need to
Yeah.
be in the same building.
Facts. But
Yeah.
it's another weekly dose of that talk. You already know. That Carter water talk. What's up though? We had a lot of things since last week, football, fucking hip hop, fucking basketball,
Nah. Yo, the most important story, Rihanna, ASAP Rocky, definitely, right?
You already know that's a big
I
W
guess. I mean, I
for New
guess.
York City. New York City.
People
that
can't
goes
get enough
that
of it,
fits in
apparently.
music. So,
I
but
mean,
and
I
culture
guess.
and culture,
Yeah,
like ASAP Rocky. That's my boy. I know him for mad years.
word.
Congrats.
Oh yeah.
Nah, imagine. But the way people would congratulate him, you would think everyone know him like personally and know Rihanna personally and all that. So
Oh,
that's why I say that, joking around and shit. But
of course.
yo, yeah, man, I seen a meme that just like I felt was the best part of the whole discovery of this Rihanna being pregnant situation, where they said New York dudes got Beyonce and Rihanna pregnant.
I saw that. I
Big
that's a
did
win.
W.
see that.
Big
That's a win.
W.
Yo,
Just
Look
for
at
anyone who
that.
hasn't seen the picture that we've all seen a million times.
yeah.
Facts.
There
Man.
we
In
go.
Harlem, shout out to Harlem.
Harlem.
I guess.
Yes.
I mean, we just giving the whole Harlem credit for this. Like,
I'm
just
just
giving
saying.
everyone shout out to the Caribbean. You know,
Shout
They
out to
did it.
Barbados.
She did it.
yeah.
She
Nah,
always knew growing up in the Caribbean it was gonna be someone from New York. New York just special like that.
I guess. Yeah. I
and,
mean,
and,
that's how
and
people have been treating it.
I will say this though, like all the dudes who thought they had a shot with Rihanna for all of those years, where she was kind of like bouncing from dude to dude, y'all had a good run. Y'all had a good run, almost, but it looks like that run has come to an end. And I'm gonna
uh,
include myself in that group of fellas who, for whatever reason, believe that they had a chance with Rihanna. But you know what I mean? Because as long as she's not wifed up, you be like, you know what? One of these days, I'm gonna bump into her, and it's gonna happen like this, and you play it out
Yo,
in your mind. But it's like
facts.
you have no chance.
It's
But
funny you
but you
say
came
that.
close.
It's fu-
Almost.
it's funny you
Almost.
say that because like I'm a firm believer. Like if I got like a celebrity crush, I'm the type that would be like, "Yo, put me in a room with her for 10 minutes. I'm getting the number."
Word.
Like
That's
I
how you
like
got.
I go in with that level of confidence.
But
But
that's how you gotta
Shit.
feel. Like
yeah,
that's that. See, that's the New York swag. That's probably what won her over. That's Rocky prop. That's
That's definitely the same vibe Rocky had.
I was thinking like because you mentioned all the previous people. Would when y'all heard they was together, would y'all like put them like she could end up with him, or would you,
Yeah,
or did you just think like he was just another one?
Nah, I thought so. You
I
know
thought
why?
so.
The
Because
long
the
play.
fashion,
Think
I
about
think.
it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
They've been kind of like circling each other for a minute. Like
Linked,
think about
linked
it.
and shit. Yeah,
Exactly.
but once I really knew, like, okay, for sure they're together. They were coming out together. Met Gala, all that stuff. There was already rumors she might be pregnant. I thought about it and I said, if there's gonna be anyone that could be a long time like soulmate There's got to be
You
someone.
was really
from New
thinking
York.
deep about
There's
this.
got to
one,
be
huh?
someone from New
Yeah.
York. You know what I'm saying? So,
funny.
yeah. So
That's funny.
yeah, that's the proper way to kick off the start of this podcast. Like, why else would we kick it off any other way?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out
But
to ASAP Rocky, ASAP Mob. You know,
rest in peace, ASAP Yam.
yes sir.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
You
And
know
of
what
course,
I'm-
ASAP Yam will make that happen from heaven, like pulling those. Yeah, my boy Rocky gonna get Rihanna.
Gonna get
You know what I'm
blessed
saying?
real
Like,
quick.
come on, angels in the outfield. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
But
true. That's true.
facts, yeah. So shout out to all of them. But let's get to the meat and potatoes because
Before we even get to the meat and potatoes, I want to say because y'all kicked it off with that like immediately, like y'all really wanted to talk about that. I was gonna say though, shout out to fucking Ty the Sound God and ARTZ
yeah,
for the intro.
that intro, yes.
We finally
No
got it hooked
politics.
up.
Officially called no politics.
Yes, it was actually I was gonna because after we played it to start, I was gonna ask Erik like what he thought of it because it's his first time like hearing it this way.
Yeah,
Like, you've heard the
haven't
No
heard.
Politics track by ARTZ, the full No Politics track.
No politics. Was that on
No. This is
He
just
showed a
just
snippet
dropped
of it on his IG.
Okay,
It was-
okay, because it kind of sounded like I heard it before, but I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
he
where.
was playing
Yeah,
like snippet
so-
of it.
Okay.
A couple.
So
I
if
think
you
he
haven't
posted a
heard
couple
it-
times.
So if you
That's-
haven't heard it in full, we just chopped up some of it with Ty, and he like helped us put it together like a 30-second intro thing.
No, dope. You need to get that instrumental too, though.
Yeah,
got it.
yeah, definitely. Yo,
Now
produced
we
by
could get
Ty
to
the
the meat
Sound
and
God as well.
potatoes.
So, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've almost forgot to shout them out. Yeah,
It was the
facts,
first
man.
thing. But y'all
Nah,
wanted to talk
nah.
about Rihanna and
You know-
ASAP so bad.
New York though, we winning
Been
no matter
holding on
what.
to that all week.
He started going down the list of things. I was like, nah, we got to get this in there and get it out the way.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
really what we really want to talk about. But we
Yeah.
gotta kind of acknowledge.
We have to
something that's been all
acknowledge it
over the
because
news.
people wouldn't stop acknowledging it.
Facts.
I
That's-
know you were getting worked up. I know I saw your stories on IG and you kind of had something along the lines of like, wow, I haven't seen this already like 20 times in one day.
Oh yeah, thanks guys. I didn't know Rihanna was pregnant. So shit
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that. Yo. But since we're on the topic of New York and meat and potatoes, and you know New York people love meat and potatoes. Pause. But
all right, like,
Nah,
don't everybody.
actually we love Tim's. Nah, but the fucking Giants, bro. What's up with the Giants? We gonna talk. We gonna
okay.
talk sports.
Okay.
I know when you think football, you think about right now, you think about the Super Bowl, which obviously we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the young boys, what they're doing. But recently, Giants, you know, which is a major market, you know, we haven't been doing too well for a couple years. We're rehauling, we're rebuilding, and we got a new general manager. We're looking for a new coach. We end up with our coach, but between the two final candidates, this news breaks out where Brian Flores, if you don't know who I'm talking about, is suing the NFL for not giving him fair treatment, fair consideration
Like a fair shot,
for a
like
job.
fair consideration, yeah.
And one of the main things is kind of revolved around the New York Giants coaching search. So I feel like why not just get right to that as well? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
some little controversy.
Just to set it up, right? So actually, Brian Flores, former coach of the Miami Dolphins, who was recently let go at the end of the season, right? Became an available candidate to the surprise of many people because, you know, he did his thing in Miami. Arasa didn't have a ton of talent. You know, in 3 seasons, I think he had a winning record, if I'm not mistaken, by 2 games. I want to say, or like 1 game.
I mean, Miami has been solid. Like they finished the season strong, and they had a winning record last year, I believe. And just
so he was like 10-6 last year. This past season, they were what 9 and.
If they had 9 wins, then they're 9-8. Yeah, but I don't know if they had. I don't know their record yet.
long story short, so he was let go by the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
They cited some differences, the front office with him. There were reports that leaked out about his relationship with other players, a revolving door regarding his coaching staff, offensive coordinators, and stuff like that. His insistence supposedly on bringing in Deshaun Watson. He didn't believe in Tua as the quarterback going forward with the team. So there's a lot of stories that leak about that. So the Giants they ended up hiring the assistant general manager for the Buffalo Bills, Joe Shane, right? Am I saying
Yep.
that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who, in the moment they hired Joe Shane, most people believe that he was going to hire somebody or really seriously look at somebody from the Buffalo Bills staff to be the head
Exactly.
coach that he needs. So
Exactly.
after Joe Judge was fired and David Gettleman retired, quote unquote,
Got the boot.
right. So Joe Shane became the new Giants GM, quickly got to work, and all the rumors that you heard since even before they hired Joe Shane, they were
Yes.
really talking about Brian Dable.
It was a team, like them two were gonna come and
Right.
rehaul what's going on in the organization.
The offensive coordinator, Brian Dable of the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
So that kind of sets the stage. The Giants did hire Brian Dable as their new head coach. Just like most media outlets were reporting that was the belief around the league,
Yes.
which leads us to Brian Flores. So Brian Flores was interviewed by the New York Giants along with several other candidates, including their defense coordinator. Was it Graham, right? Patrick Graham, I want to say.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Star.
Patrick, sorry.
Not to be confused with.
So yeah, the Giants, from the outside looking in, it looks like they were kind of conducting a regular coaching search, right? Like they were whatever available candidates were the best candidates. They interviewed Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, and Leslie Frazier, who's also defensive coordinator from the Buffalo Bills. So they hired they interviewed 2 Buffalo Bills. Long story short, so the Giants, make their announcement. Brian Dable's offensive coordinator, and now Brian Flores comes out this week. What was it? Tuesday?
Somewhere around there.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
He comes out and he accuses the NFL of basically
not giving him a fair shake.
Right, basically of racism, and it stems in part from the Rooney Rule, which is basically kind of an affirmative action kind of rule in the NFL that's supposed to guarantee that a certain number of minority candidates are basically interviewed for general manager, front office positions, and coaching positions. But
I don't disagree with him. I think there is racism in the NFL, and the Rooney Rule might be rooted from racism because
it definitely is. It's affirmative action, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So it is rooted
except there's no hiring quota. So like they have to interview somebody, but they don't have to hire people.
Yeah.
With affirmative action, typically, if I'm running a company, no politics network, by law, I'm supposed to not only interview a certain number of minority candidates or females, but I'm also supposed to hire those people in the company.
We're gonna hire all whites.
All whites?
I know violation.
So
all Dominicans.
All Dominicans.
So basically, what is it? Flores is saying, I guess the biggest thing out of this is the whole Bill Belichick thing. The way
Bill Belichick text message.
Yeah. Bill Belichick basically is the reason for this lawsuit, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
He provided the smoking gun,
or the reason why the Giants name is being thrown in there, like and since it's one of the biggest markets, media is running with us as one of the main focuses of this story.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I do believe that this probably was going to happen regardless. Bill just fucked up and made it worse. But I don't even think Bill really did anything bad. But I'm gonna let you finish before I even get to that.
No, so what? So Bill Belichick sends a congratulatory text.
Let's look at the text. Let's take it to the text.
There you go.
I can't
So-
read it. Y'all gotta read it for me.
You
So
can't
he
read that.
says, so Belichick sends a text to Brian, right?
Mhm.
Now, he didn't send it to the right Brian. He sent it to Brian Flores, not Brian Dable. So he thought he was congratulating Brian Dable. So he says, sounds like you have
Classic
landed.
Bill.
Congrats. Flores responds, did you hear something I didn't hear?
Oh man.
Belichick responds, Giants with
Wait,
question
let's
marks.
pause. Time out. I can't believe how much more excited Bill Belichick is in text messages than in real life. Because look at all the exclamation points and question marks. Like, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure this is Bill Belichick. I
This is
just
the
got to
most
point that out.
animated Bill Belichick ever.
Exactly. But continue.
So Belichick says Giants, question marks, exclamation points.
Giant?
Oh my god.
Right. Flores responds, I interview on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it. Belichick responds, got it. I hear from Buffalo and the New York Giants that you are their guy. Hope it works out if you want it too. So Flores responds, that's definitely what I want. I hope you're right, coach. Thank you. Then he responds, Coach, are you talking about Brian Flores or Brian Dable? Just making sure. Belichick responds, sorry, I fucked this up. I double checked and misread the text.
Oh
I think they are named Dable. I'm sorry about that. BB. Flores responds, thanks, Bill. I don't understand people who send texts like that and put initials.
Yeah,
I got
like,
two things to say. Yeah, I agree.
Do that.
I got two things to say about this. First of all, the sorry I fucked this up was more on brand for Bill. Like, just mad, like, calm and nonchalant about it. Sorry, I fucked this up. Like, you kind of just made a dude think he was about to get hired and, like, shattered his dreams. But the BB at the end, the way he signs it, remember with the Bruce Arians text messages with AB?
Yes.
We were having the conversation, the debate about old people texting and how they were like, why would Bruce Arians sign his name at the bottom of the text? And they were saying it was Photoshop. And I'm like, old people do shit like that. They'll be like, this is Bruce, by the way. Like, but that's just an example of that shit.
There's a rumor that Tom left because Bill texted the wrong Tom.
Nah.
What Tom was that?
Tommy Jones. From Men in Black.
Oh man.
But okay, continue.
So this happens. Now I don't know if I agree with you, Aaron. I don't think this lawsuit would have came out if it weren't for these texts. And the reason I say is this. I don't think this is the sole reason that he is bringing this lawsuit, but I think this is kind of what he needed to tie everything together, because everything else would have been like hearsay or just his opinion, his word versus their word, which is still kind of is if you think about it, but at least there's some type of evidence that he could point to support his argument. So Flores doesn't only mention the Giants, he mentions an interview that he had with the Denver Broncos from a few years ago where he claims that Broncos staff, including John Elway, came to the meeting late and they came drunk.
I feel like that's way worse.
I mean,
I would say that's worse.
Worse than what?
Than the Bill Belichick
fucking
up.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
Even
though
it did fall in his lap to tie it together, I feel like where he could be like, the fact that Bill said, I'm hearing from the Giants and Buffalo, like if they conspire, like, okay, we're going to give you our guys. We agree. They want to go there. We have no problem. Like if it was all being like
orchestrated
already. And you know what I'm saying? Put together.
Okay, but can I just to speak on the bill text? Like the bill texts are being used as ammo to say like they already gave the job. They already decided they were giving the job to Dable before they interviewed Flores. and that's his gripe, right? But I feel like Bill saying, I'm hearing you're their guy and believing he's talking to Daboll, right? I feel like that's too ambiguous to hold up, to be like, yeah, Bill, see, they told Bill that Daboll already had the job. No, he's just kind of saying that's their guy. And we
to
all
also
heard that
piggyback
Daboll
off
was their
that,
guy.
honestly, like you mentioned in the beginning, a lot of people off rip before Brian Flores was a candidate was saying as soon as the Bills fucking lost, oh, Daboll and Shane are coming. They're like, those are gonna be the Giants
And
guys. It
especially
makes
when
perfect
Shane
sense.
was named GM.
Shane, and then Shane got the job. Yeah, and what was it, like a week later? Then they lost.
I think that's a fair point, but I feel like
so. Like we all were hearing from. We
that
all can
Daboll
put
was
it
the guy.
in that way. Oh,
In
we're
that
hearing
term,
that
yeah.
from Buffalo, and that you're the guy because
100%.
that's the rumor,
100%. But I think we have to look at it from this standpoint. If you are Brian Flores and you had the interview that you had with Denver a few years back, right? You had the experience that you had with the Miami Dolphins, where he accuses them in the lawsuit of the owner of the Dolphins team giving him $100,000 per game to throw games in the regular season so they can better their standing.
Yo, there's so much going on in this controversy, bro.
Right.
There's so many moving pieces.
So supposedly, which Flores was adamant that he did not take any money and he refused, which he said was one of the causes of their relationship kind of souring and fracturing, which eventually led to, according to him getting let go, right? So you have that, and now he gets a text from somebody that he worked under for several years, right? They have a relationship. He gets a text from Belichick. Belichick is, by all accounts, considered by most people to be the greatest coach in NFL history, one of the greatest coaches in the history of professional sports. When he says something, he's not saying something just to say something. He knows. I think we could pretty safely say that he knows that something's about to go down. He's plugged in. He's not talking out his ass. If I send you a congratulatory text, I'm 99% sure that the information I'm giving out is true. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, not going to just say that. So if
I can agree there.
If you're Brian Flores and you're getting hit with all of this, right? And it's not just the Giants. Because look, I've been super critical of the Giants. I'm a Giants fan, right? Full disclosure. But this doesn't prove that the Giants are racist, right? Because they had their guy, but they were irresponsible and unfair in the way that they went about their coaching search. They interviewed Daboll first. They interviewed Flores last, if I'm not mistaken, or he was like the second to last person to get interviewed. That to me, and maybe there's other factors involved in terms of scheduling, but it only helps his case when you look at it something like that. And in his assertion is basically that he was a token in the interview process. They never seriously considered really giving him the opportunity to be the coach. They had already had their mind made up before he ever took that interview. And if you look at the text of Bill Belichick, it was sent before his interview took place on Thursday of that week. So I can see, if I'm Brian Flores, how I'm piecing two and two together. As a black man in the NFL, my experience being an NFL coach, knowing what I've had to deal with at this point, I can see how I can jump to the conclusions like, the Giants are fucking around. Like these, like they're doing underhanded shit.
Okay, so I can see how, as a whole, based on his experience, he can assert that he's being treated unfairly. It's like situation after situation. He has a case, right? I think, though, it's unfair to call the Giants racist just for this. Like, as a whole, the NFL is very racist generally, right? But I think it's unfair for the Giants to get so much. Yes, they were irresponsible. I can agree there, right? But for them to be getting all this heat, like they were totally racist, and it's like, I think Dable was their guy no matter what, right? And I think they kind of knew that. And I think their interview, not only with Flores, but with probably any coaching candidate they had after Dable, was just to do it because they had to do it, right? I think they knew that they had their guy, and I think it was going to be unfair no matter who the candidate. I even in our group chat made the point, like, when I have a job interview, I've gone to job interviews where I knew, like, I wasn't their top choice. I knew they were going to pick someone else over me, but you do it anyway. Like, so like there are situations, and this to me, the Giants was a very specific situation where Dabo was clearly their guy. Shane, his boy, is in front office. Like, yeah, it kind of goes without saying that, like, every other person up for the job right now, you probably not gonna get it. You know what I mean? And so I understand where Flores has a case, right? But I just disagree with the Giants getting so much heat. And I'm not a Giants fan, to be clear. I kind of hate the Giants. At least Giant fans. So that's just where I stand. So go ahead.
No, I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, like I feel like that's fair in terms of the Giants perspective. Like, we just on the outside looking in, just surface level, like from the stuff that we have, I understand from his perspective how it could look that way, especially considering his history, right, of interviewing for jobs and how, and there's probably a bunch of behind the scenes stuff that we're not even privy to that he had to deal with as a assistant coming up the ranks in the NFL, right? But look, the Giants don't really have a history of that type of stuff, to be fair. Although the Giants did have a black GM for several years, maybe like close to 10 years or so. Most of Eli's career was, I forget his name because I'm blanking right now, but
I didn't even know y'all had a black GM for 10 years.
We did. When Ernie, of course, he was the guy who drafted Eli Manning.
Okay.
He retired. When he retired, I don't know, maybe you could look it up, but it doesn't matter at this point. This is we don't fact check here.
I think no sources.
No sources, just us.
No sources. But like, it doesn't mean just because you have somebody who was a black GM all those years that you can't be racist or that there can't be, because like I said, that shit happens a lot. There's token people, we're gonna put this person in this position to kind of satisfy a certain segment.
Technically they didn't fuck up. Bill fucked up,
or Bill is the greatest coach ever, some would say, and he's just a mastermind that didn't fuck up, but this was very much intended.
Yo, Bill Belichick might unintentionally go down as a civil rights hero. Listen, don't totally dismiss that. It's possible.
Yeah.
He's like, let me fuck over the Giants for the
we got to see the text messages from the day before. But yeah, man, that's crazy. So speaking of Bill,
Jerry Reese was his name, the GM, by the way.
There you go.
Jerry Reese.
I got that.
Boom.
There you go.
Jerry Reese. I'm sorry. Shout out to Jerry Reese.
Also, shout out to Jerry Rice, one of the greatest wide receiver.
That's a far more important Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry Reese is pretty important to Giants history, but not NFL history necessarily.
Word.
But all right, so how do you think this ends, though? So you guys don't think that the Giants, based on what you see, are necessarily racist in this aspect or whatever, but it's kind of hard to finger.
Excuse me?
I said it's kind of hard to finger. Whoa. It's kind of hard to put your finger on what exactly he's talking about in terms of like what is racist and what's not, right? Like, so the whole, I guess the interview process he did cite as being inherently racist, right? So the Rooney Rule, it allows minority candidates to interview. Mm-hmm. There is no pressure put on the organizations to actually make hires, right? It's the system that they have in place oftentimes it's more so about the relationship that you have in these not only in the NFL, in all sports, more about the relationships that you have.
In
It's less
anything.
about right. And it's less about um the most qualified. I mean, there is there's I would say most jobs though is more so about who's the most qualified for the most part, right? If we're talking about a regular 9 to 5, yes, of course, there's always people who are pulling strings for people that they may know and giving them a handout. No, that happens, and there's networking that can happen that could get you your foot into jobs you probably weren't the most qualified for. You probably shouldn't have got had it been done fairly. But the sports is weird. I don't know how you fix that. So it's like some people are saying like maybe you can make it so that they have to hire people, but I don't know.
Here's the difficulty with sports and coaching is because if you're not a head coach or like a offensive coordinator who's calling the plays or a defensive coordinator who has a crazy defensive system, we don't really know if you're a good coach. We don't know what your personality. You don't get the shine that a head coach gets, right? So we don't actually know from the outside looking in. Like, man, like look at Bieniemy, the Chiefs OC, right? People thought he would be like a shoo-in to get a head coaching job because that Chiefs offense is crazy, right? And like he had some interviews last year, didn't get hired, got passed over by a bunch of teams, and people were questioning that. And so, I mean, could that be racism? I think you could probably make a case, but we don't actually know what Bieniemy's like, right? We know he runs an offense that has Mahomes, Reek, Kelsey. Like we don't actually know. And Andy Reid's the head coach. And Andy Reid has been proven to be really good at his job. So we don't know like how much of it is Bieniemy. We don't know how it actually works, how it shakes out, what, how it's divvied up and who deserves more credit. So we don't really know like a lot of the times like who deserves a lot of this credit. So that's the tough part with coaching jobs and people and the hiring process, I guess, is that we can't really speak on, man, does this coach communicate well? Does he communicate a vision well? Like we don't really hear them often, so we don't know how they interview.
I mean, that's a fair point, but I guess the counter to that is that you got guys who were plucked out of the college ranks who ended up becoming NFL head coaches. Somebody like Bieniemy and Brian Flores, they were assistant coaches for years. Brian Leftwich has been an assistant coach for a good amount of years now.
Byron.
Right. He's the OC of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and stuff. A lot of people thought that he was a shoo-in for the Jaguars job, especially since that was the team he used to quarterback for. So I guess the thing is though, you look at Urban Meyer, right? Never had any success on the NFL level. All the success was on the college level. We've seen time and time again that college success does not translate into NFL success. They're two different worlds, right? Even Pete Carroll failed his first time, came back a few years later, had more success. So it's like, when a guy like, Bieniemy is getting passed up, yeah, you make the good point. It's like, look at the weapons he has. How good is he really? But some of those questions are not necessarily being applied to some of the people who are getting positions on an NFL level. Like,
oh no, I agree. I agree. I was more so playing devil's advocate. Like it's hard for us to definitively say, like, is he just a bad interviewer? Does he not communicate a vision well? Is he not a strong leader? Like it's hard to like definitively say. So I was just more so playing devil's advocate, but I agree with you.
Right.
Otherwise,
and I think it's fair to say we can't pinpoint instances of racism specifically in the case of Flores, maybe, right? Or the case of Bieniemy or anybody else who may be a minority coach or a black coach who attempted to get hired for an NFL vacancy. But if we're looking at it overall and just the hiring practices of NFL teams and the history of it, there is one black NFL coach currently in the NFL.
Mike Tomlin, the GOAT.
Mike Tomlin, who's an incredible coach.
Yes, sir.
To me, like, that's kind of crazy, especially
And the other coach last year was who? David Culley, the Texans coach. And
Right.
to me, whoever got hired for that job was just set up to fail. Like,
right.
So it's weird that that's the one job that hires the black coach for the 1 year just to fire him. Like,
and it may be the franchise that hires Brian Flores. I mean, he's supposedly a finalist, but that's the thing too, right? So Brian Flores may have kind of like he may have sacrificed his ability to get a head coaching job in the future by coming out with this lawsuit. Like he's even said it himself.
mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that he gets a coaching job after this?
I mean, I sure fucking hope so, right? Because like it's sad that it has to be phrased like he's potentially sacrificing his future as an NFL head coach for calling out potentially racist people in a racist hiring process. Like that's awful. That's awful.
OD.
That's the optics of this. You know what I mean? Like
but that's the way the world works.
No,
you ruffle feathers and
the
and
NFL
you
more
get
specifically. The NFL more specifically has a history of that.
A lot of
but the world too. It can be applied to the world as well.
Corporate and shit like that.
Suit
and tie shit that you ruffle feathers, they could blackball you. Like that's how the world been. Not saying it's right. Not saying I agree. But
the reality,
the sad reality. Yeah.
I have a feeling that they probably will settle. And that the NFL, either way, depending on how this goes, I think the NFL is going to institute some changes to the Rooney Rule and probably just their hiring practice and diversity practices in terms of they're going to put a lot of pressure on the owners to kind of really, really make a concerted effort to diversify what their, what their teams look like. Somebody made a good point and said that the NFL offices in their headquarters is pretty diverse in terms of the people that they have in their hierarchy in terms of stuff, but it's like people that we don't know and see, right? We only know about the infrastructures of the various teams and who's the GM, who's the assistant GM, who are the coaches. So that's what we see. Mm-hmm. The other teams are the ones that have major problems and issues in terms of diversity that they have to account for. So, but it's kind of weird that the NFL didn't really separate themselves in that statement that they came out with. So they answered to Flores' statement and they kind of basically were providing cover for the NFL teams and themselves. They kind of like didn't disassociate themselves from the NFL teams. They basically gave some like blanket statement about they always value diversity and this, that, and the third, which is, kind of crazy, but but yeah, so like I don't know, man. I hope he gets another job.
Yeah, I hope so too. Just before we move on, is Elway, because Aaron had mentioned it, is Elway not getting no heat for showing up to a fucking interview drunk? Like that seems far worse. Like I agree. That's like
Bill's text. Yeah,
that's like I really was not taking this shit
I don't
serious.
give a fuck about you.
But but you can't prove that though, right? Bill's texts are there. So Bill sent the text before his interview, and even though
the evidence shows it's a fact,
well, it ended up turning into fact. At the time, Flores still went on the interview because in his mind he even said it was like, well, maybe he didn't get all the right information. Maybe there's still a chance. So he took the chance. He still went on the interview, but it found out that it was Daybell all along. So like that information that Belichick accidentally shared with him was actually accurate in the end. So I guess that's what makes a difference. There's not a drunk photo of John Elway. There's not a camera phone, like video recording of him drunk. You know what I mean? Like, so
we got to go through Gruden's emails. I'm sure we might find something.
So
got to reopen that one.
So yeah, so like, I don't know. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'll say this to close it up. For me, not to make it a bigger deal than what it is, but like I really feel like as an NFL fan who already had to experience the whole Kaepernick situation, and like me personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but I felt uncomfortable with that situation and how it played out, and it bothered me a lot that NFL teams and that the NFL kind of treated him in the way that they did, and the fact that he still doesn't have a job. You can make the argument that he's part of the reason he doesn't have a job because he wasn't complying enough with certain things.
The
And
Giants about to hire him.
and that's fair. But even still, man, like we're just getting over that, it seems like. And now some shit like this comes out. It's like, come on, NFL, fucking do better. Like,
I'm gonna say this also. If Flores wins, which he probably will, right? Hopefully, fuck it. I don't care. Fucking the NFL losing in a fucking lawsuit don't do nothing to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fuck the corporations. Anyway, if he does win, that's another W for New York, regardless.
Brownsville. That's another thing. Like, of course he's pissed off. The dude rooted for the Giants as a kid.
It was a dream job, and that's one thing you heard
job.
before all this stuff got leaked with the messages, and we heard two narratives. Daboll is Shane's guy, and Flores, this is one of his dream jobs.
Now, I will say this. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I find this interesting. At the beginning of the interview process with the Giants, it was leaked out there that Flores was somebody who was high on their list of candidates. This is before Joe Shane was hired.
Yeah.
Now, not to sound like diabolical or like some conspiracy theorist, but I wonder how much of that had to do with the fact that they had actual interest in Brian Flores, or how much of that had to do with the fact that it was something to put out there just for the fact that they kind of already knew in their mind they wanted to go a certain direction, and they knew they wanted to kind of make it seem as the process was as diverse and they were considering everybody. Like, we can't put it past the Giants for doing something like that, where they had their people leak something to the media, leak something to a reporter saying we're very interested in him, but they went in the other direction anyway, and they had no intentions of ever hiring him. We'll never know, but it's possible.
I think you won the case. W for New York.
All right, so on the same day, moving on.
The same day. What you want to talk about? Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
But it's weird though, because Tom Brady retired twice. Can we talk about that?
Okay, how so?
Bro, it had came out Tom Brady is gonna retire, and then his dad put out a fucking statement. Oh, it's not official, and stuff was coming. And then 2 days later, some shit like that, or a day later, Tom Brady's like, "All right, guys, you got me. I'm retired."
Was it ESPN reported it first, right?
Yeah,
I think it was Schefter, probably.
Schefter. Yep.
Adam Schefter reported it, and then, like you said, Tom Brady's father came out and denied it. Said he hadn't made up his mind. Brady came out, denied it, said he hadn't made up his mind. And then like 2 days later, they actually released the statement. Brady on his Instagram feed and on his social media, his Twitter handle, he released this lengthy statement thanking the Bucs organization and his teammates, coaches, and stuff. And his call to end to his what? How many years? 22? Yeah, 22. 22-year career, I want to say. So I don't even think we have to have a discussion about this. I think we all would agree that he's the greatest quarterback of all time, right? I mean, just no.
This is the kind of controversy we need.
All right. So who got? Eli Manning?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Flacco in Spanish.
Joe Flacco.
Nah, come on. I'm not no fucking dummy, of course. Like,
Joe Flacco did beat Tom Brady.
Can we stop calling him Joe Flacco? Like, he's fucking Puerto Rican. Like,
Lord Pretty
Flacco. Lord Pretty Flacco. Joey.
Jody.
Lord Pretty Flacco. Joey.
Joey. Lord Pretty Flacco Joey.
Yo, if he went to I mean, he was with the Jets. He was on. I was gonna say if he went to a New York team, he was with the Jets, and they didn't give him that name. They slide.
That's
Jets fans is
because
trash for that.
no one in New York really are fans of Jets.
Yeah.
Nah, no shade, no shade. But yeah, Tom Brady, man, fucking greatest fucking quarterback, of course. At least of my lifetime since I've been live. Like I've never seen no one win as many chips and go to as many Super Bowls as him. You know, and I've seen this man do things with teams that you wouldn't even think are that good, and he's still getting it done. You know what I'm saying? So
Man, like
respect to that legend.
I can't even blame him for like retiring, then unretire, like going back and forth on the decision because he's playing. He was still playing at an elite level, bro.
Facts.
Like you gotta think about it, like especially a competitor like him, right?
I ain't gonna lie, Tom Brady won me some money this year too.
See, he definitely wants to keep playing. I think he was definitely battling within himself and going back and forth with it. But shout out to Brady, man. Yeah, we don't gotta spend much time on this topic, but worth mentioning, obviously.
Yeah, man.
So I guess it's safe to say Gronkowski's retired too.
I think so.
There it is. That's what we take away from this.
The package deal. But staying on that topic to a degree though, so the AFC quarterbacks for the next 10 years, right? So now that Brady is out of the picture, right? He's not going to be terrorizing the New York Jets or terrorizing the NFC for the last 2 years. Who is that guy who is going to step up and be the next Tom Brady or the next guy to be the face of the NFL? So now the natural candidate is obviously Patrick Mahomes. You can make the argument, most people were already anointing him the next GOAT, so to speak. Premature as that may be, but if you look at how many AFC championship games did he get to? Four straight, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win, 1 loss. Nothing to be ashamed of. Incredible span of 4 years to start basically his career. But what we saw last week, AFC Championship game, overtime thriller with the Cincinnati Bengals. We got a new QB in town, second-year quarterback, Joe Burrow. Like, what do you guys feel in terms of who is going to be that next guy? You got Josh Allen in there. You still got Lamar Jackson lurking.
Well, last week we spoke about the fucking Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen duel that happened that was legendary. And I always felt like Josh Allen gave me a kind of Tom Brady vibe, just with like legs that he could run, but like something about him, not to say like he plays exactly, because like I said, he could run and shit, but like something about when I look at his face, he reminds me of Tom Brady a little.
I believe he grew up a Brady fan.
Probably.
So I'm pretty sure he grew up like a Patriots fan or a Tom Brady fan at the very least. Like
vibe wise,
like pictures and stuff.
Vibe wise, I feel like he gives me that. But now, like looking at Joe Burrow and all he's accomplished, like he gives me that vibe, And yeah, like the topic is like the AFC in general. They fucking got a lot of great candidates of guys that could be the next face of the NFL.
I mean, so here's the list generally. This is the post that brought us to this question.
This is what kind of sparked the conversation.
Yeah. So I mean, even last week we mentioned obviously Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Allen, Lamar. I mentioned Lawrence. Then I believe you mentioned. Did you mention Mac Jones or did you mention him after?
I did.
As a quarterback?
I did.
Did you mention him on the episode?
Yeah, at the end.
Okay. At the end.
At the end of you talking about these persons.
Yeah, and then someone on this list does not belong.
Yeah, one of these guys is not like
my favorite is the top comment on this says not Baker.
Damn, but at one point Baker was kind of touted, even though also doubted.
He was a top pick. Like,
yeah,
of course he's gonna be touted in the same way Lawrence is touted right now because he's a highly touted prospect and he's the number 1 pick. But like he hasn't really shown it yet, right? So in 2 years, if Lawrence still hasn't done shit, we could be saying the same thing, right? So, but yeah, Baker was obviously highly touted for reasons, you know.
Yeah.
But he just
It's
hasn't
funny that this became a
proven it.
topic after we already had talked about it, kinda, and
Yeah,
also struggled to find a NFC player that we would put in the conversation
hmm
that was young and like
hmm
upcoming. So it's just funny that now this has become. But
So
I,
what will you guys pick? If you
my
guys had to pick
answer
one
I
is
was
person,
a tie
yeah,
between Allen and
no,
Burrow.
no ties. No ties.
yeah, no ties. Stop being so.
I'm going with Joe Burrow. I don't know. I just think they're doing something right over there. I think they're doing something right
Okay,
over there, and
so
he has
now,
so much more career ahead of him.
man, so
You know,
now,
God
okay,
willing.
now that because last week I was
Motherfuckers think
like,
I'm just going with the hype though. Like
no,
I hate
no,
that
but
question too,
that's
because
exactly what I'm
they're
gonna
in the
bring up.
Super Bowl. So is that why you think that?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
but
So
it's because he's
yes,
proven. He's proven himself. You know, like there's been times throughout this whole season where I've been watching him and I'm like, yo, this guy's good. Even in fantasy football, like in my league, because I'm in two leagues. I'm in your league, I'm in my league. My league, I had Joe Burrow for like the whole year as my quarterback, like, and I was like really like on the Joe Burrow bandwagon type vibe. You know what I'm saying? Not to say like,
wasn't you like 5-9? No, I'm playing. I don't even
nah.
know your record. I don't even know
Actually,
your
I
record in
ended
that
up
league.
having some fucking losses I should have not have had because fucking fantasy football was weird this year. But
What
it's
was your
been weird
record?
the last like
Just
I
for
think
conversation.
I was like no, I was 7-7. Ended up
Okay,
breaking even. Like what
okay,
the
okay.
fuck? But anyway, but yeah, motherfuckers gonna think that. But I just feel like every time I feel like, yo, I want to bet on Joe Burrow, or I feel like Joe Burrow and the Bengals could win, and I don't because I'm doubting and he has to prove himself. He
It
fucking
always
proves
comes back to
himself.
betting.
You know, of course, I'm a betting
Um,
man.
I was gonna say last week, like this conversation seemed so much easier, right? It was easy to say, oh yeah, Mahomes, and then Allen's right behind him, and then we got Herbert and Burrow and Lamar, right? But now that Mahomes is lost to Burrow, I mean, I'm still not gonna like my pick is Allen. I just think he's just so dynamic. Like nobody really does what he does. I don't know. Like yeah, a lot of these quarterbacks can run, right? Obviously Lamar's a better runner, but obviously he doesn't have the passing ability that Allen has. But Allen be straight running through people. He just
Yeah, he's a big
he
boy too.
wills that offense, bro. Like
He's like a hybrid of Brady and Ben Roethlisberger
he's like
that can
Cam fucking
run.
Newton.
That can
Like
run.
he's like
Yeah,
Cam,
but
Cam Newton
Cam
that can
Newton is a
fucking
Cam,
throw
yeah,
like a
Cam Newton is a
better
great
passer.
comparison.
Cam and Tom Brady actually.
I mean,
Boom.
I mean, you
let's
keep
let,
saying Brady, like
let's
Brady.
calm,
That's
let's calm
crazy.
down.
Like,
Let's calm down.
I mean,
like
that's what the topic is. I mean, that's what the
Easy,
question was.
he's like Michael
easy.
Vick and Tom Brady, like the best rusher and the best passer of all time. Like,
He's
but
like Brett Favre,
no, fuck out of here.
Joe
But
Montana, and Tom Brady. Nah.
but to me, that's why Josh Allen would be my pick. I think Mahomes, bro, like just to because this is how I felt watching last week's AFC Championship game is like Mahomes is great. There's no doubt about it, right? But just in that last situation, right? I believe the game was it tied? It was the Chiefs were in the red zone. And like for like 3 plays in a row, Mahomes did not throw the ball. It might have been 4 plays in a row. He just did not throw the ball. He scrambled in the red zone like 3 or 4 times. And to me, it's like, bro, you have a chance to send your team to the Super Bowl. You got to throw the fucking ball, right? And he just, in that moment, I just felt like he's scared to throw the ball right now. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like throughout this year, there have been moments, right, where he's probably gotten into his own head, right, when the Chiefs offense was struggling. When it was like he didn't know how to take the check down. Shit like that, right? And
Eli Apple.
Okay. I'm gonna ignore that for now. We'll circle back in 2 minutes. But in that moment, I just felt like this man seems scared to fucking throw the ball. Like he's scared to make a mistake right now. And that just like I don't know if he's I don't know, mentally.
I think I know what it is. maybe, and
from there
correct me
with
if
him.
I'm wrong. I feel like he's a victim of his own success, and I don't think we
Wrong.
would be judging any other quarterback. I don't think we would be seriously. I don't think we would judge any other quarterback to this degree. Like
Mhm.
Josh Allen, um, Joe Burrow has only been in the league 2 years, right? But
Mhm.
like nobody has his body of work. The numbers that he's put up in the time in the short span that he's put him up since he's been a starting quarterback in this league is unprecedented. And I'll give him credit for this. Like we kind of touched on this last week. This is a different Chiefs offense than it was in past years. They kind of got it done differently and they made an adjustment mid-season after it wasn't looking good. And they probably should have been the number one seed and they kind of blew it at the end. But be that as it may, they got to the AFC Championship. They got to an overtime. It's a game they should have won. They were up 21-10, if I'm not mistaken, at one point.
True.
They let the Bills come back. Like, there's a lot of blame that you can assign. Obviously Mahomes has to take some blame. He lost. He lost the game. I mean, he didn't just lose, but his team lost and he's the quarterback. And nobody on that team can impact the game as much as he can, right? But also Andy Reid, I love Andy Reid, but what's his record in AFC in championship games in the NFC and AFC combined? I think he has like 3 wins out of like 9 trips, 8 trips, something like that.
Yeah, I
So
mean
it's like,
he used to get to the NFC Championship a lot with the Eagles and
oh
lose.
yeah, with Donovan McNabb all the time.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's Mahomes still because I just have to go by his history, and it's hard to argue against getting to 4 AFC championships straight. He's gotten to 2 Super Bowls. He's 1-1 in the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's not unbeatable, but in terms of regular season success and playoff success, he's almost unbeatable. Like he's getting to the final game almost every time. So it's like, I feel like he set the bar really high. So it's like until I see Josh Allen, get to the AFC Championship game like 2-3 times in a row and maybe win a Super Bowl or get a Super Bowl appearance, it's hard for me to put anybody above Mahomes yet. But
yeah. Just
to
to
your
be
point,
clear,
though.
Mahomes is my one too. I'm just like looking forward. I can see Allen
Yeah.
surpassing him.
Like Mahomes is the top guy for sure.
Yeah, he's
Now
the guy to beat
that-
right now.
But 10
that
years from
Tom
now,
Brady's for
you guys think that Allen is going to surpass Mahomes in 10 years? Like if we're looking 10 years in the future,
Potentially.
you think Allen is going to be the guy?
I think he can be the guy because I think team wise Buffalo is like built to last. I think what their front office has done in recent years shows that like they really on the ball. Whereas you look at KC, right, and you look at Kelsey's going to be retiring. Kelsey probably got a year, maybe 2 left, and Kelsey ain't easy to find, right? And then you look at Reek, and Reek is one of a kind, right? And so if they ever were to lose Reek, replacing that is an easy one. And 2 is that teams have been able this year started becoming way more able to contain Reek and know how to play Reek, right?
Bro.
Like Reek is great, right? Because he's explosive and one of a kind. Like I said, he's a game breaker. Like you have to completely adjust for him, right? When you play that team. But at the same time, he's not like a physical beast that just overpowers DBs. You know what I mean? Like he needs to outrun a guy. And if they send enough coverage to his side where he's not able to, like he can be contained. And then now you take away that and is Mahomes as successful, right? And not only that, but the Kansas City offense was in a position earlier this season where people were like, they need another weapon. You have Kelsey and Reek, and you need another weapon? That's kind of crazy. You know what I mean?
They got one, though. They just don't know.
But when your running game, though, is not as good,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of do need another weapon, right?
Okay, I can agree there.
You know who y'all
what I'm
sleeping
saying
on?
is the
You know who
fact
y'all
of the
sleeping
matter
on
is
though,
that
right?
Kelsey should be gone
Oh,
soon, and I don't know who he's about to say.
yeah, McCall Hardman.
No, he's about to
He's gonna
say
say some wild
fucking
shit.
yeah. He's about to say Antonio Brown or some shit.
Jackson Mahomes.
Okay.
Jackson
Tyreek
Mahomes.
ever go
And
out,
moving
gotta
on.
throw Jackson out
Let's
there.
let's
Start
circle
catching
back to
some
Eli
balls.
Apple. Let's circle back to Eli Apple.
Any possibility that that the Chiefs under their I wonder if there's any possibility if they could actually seriously go after Devontae Adams. Wouldn't that
Ooh,
solve a lot of
nah, I mean it would solve every problem, but like
I don't think it's
nah, like
possible. He's
no
gonna make
way,
too much money. But
no way.
I would like
That
to
would be
see it.
crazy though. That would be crazy though.
It would.
Who are the
Um
free agents this year for like NFL that could like switch teams? Like
I
just
think
like
Godwin's a free agent.
Godwin,
I feel like a guy
Adams.
like him is definitely gonna get money too. Even though he
Yeah.
was a little injury banged up
I mean he
his
got hurt
last
at the
couple
end of
years.
the year.
He got hurt then,
What
yeah.
was it at? UCL?
It was an ACL, which sucks for him.
Mm.
Hopefully teams don't in the NFL teams they always try to hold that against you. You know what I mean? Like they'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna put you on a 1-year prove it deal to make sure you're coming back off the ACL, right?" But like that's bullshit because everybody comes off an ACL, okay? You know what I mean? So like,
Mm.
pay the man. He's a beast. I think if teams do that, I'm hoping there's a smart team that swoops in and says, "Nah, we gonna give you fucking 4 years because we know you're who you are." I hope there's a team that does that, but you know how the NFL
No
goes.
doubt. So I like the fact that we each had a different answer for that topic regarding you had Josh Allen, you had Mahomes, who definitely is the top dog right now. I cannot disagree. And I picked Joe Burrow just based off like accomplishments that he's already made prior to the NFL and just what he's accomplished this year specifically with what he has.
Yeah, but your
Um
favorite TikTok star of the next decade is Jackson Mahomes.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely I think no one's going to be better than him for
I
the
got
next 10
Juju.
years.
I got Juju.
Joe Burrow, honestly speaking, I would put Joe Burrow second. If I had to choose somebody other than Mahomes, it'd be Joe Burrow. No shade to Allen, but the only reason I say not Allen is because of the reason you said what makes him dynamic. The way he runs over people and all that stuff, I don't think that's sustainable. I
I
mean,
can agree there.
so like, and I want to know what does he look like if he just has to be a pocket passer and you take away the ability and the threat of him to run. Like if he slows
Yeah.
down to the point where the injuries pile on, like it did for Cam, where he run
Mhm.
less. Russell Wilson started running less. He's a great pocket passer, but it takes away from what makes you dynamic to a degree.
See, a part of my argument though is that Josh Allen doesn't really have a ton of weapons, right? He doesn't have a run game like that. If you're gonna say Mahomes doesn't have a run game, Josh Allen doesn't really have a run game like that.
True.
He has Diggs, and then like Dawson Knox kind of came out of nowhere, but you don't look at Dawson Knox and be like, man, what a beast! Like before this year, Cole Beasley's like the classic scrappy slot receiver. Emmanuel Sanders is at the end of his career, and then Gabe Davis stepped up in the playoffs. But like, he was he's still growing, So you can't really say he has a ton of weapons. He's his own weapon, and that's where I say like he would single-handedly will that offense. So that's kind of a part of it. Now, as he ages, right, and maybe he runs less, if the Buffalo front office, which I trust him to do, gets him some damn weapons, he's gonna be chilling. That's how I see it. But
fair. Yeah, so that was a lot for NFL this week, you know what I'm saying? Football in general, fucking a lot of major shit. I think we definitely are going to talk about the championship game, but probably not on this episode because we still got some time. But I definitely do want to, according to like the time that we're in, like the day wise, year, month, whatever. The NBA trade deadline's coming up, and I do want to talk about the NBA trade deadline before it's too late to talk about it because we had a trade today. You know what I'm saying? Last week or 2 weeks ago, there was a trade with the Knicks traded for Cam Reddish. I don't know if we spoke about that on last episode or not, but today fucking the Clippers and Portland had a trade, and there's been trade rumors of New York, which I think is grabbing all the headlines, potentially trading Julius Randle.
But before you even get there, though, let's lay out what that trade was between the Blazers and the Clippers, though, right? So
it was Norman Powell and Covington for Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and another person.
Keon Johnson,
I think, and like a pick, a future draft pick.
Yeah, second round pick.
Something like that.
Yep, definitely. And I've seen a lot of people talking about that. Norman Powell now is reunited with Kawhi. Well, next year will be. They won a chip together. So I see what the Clippers are doing there. I was a little surprised that Bledsoe was traded. I guess it's because he's on a last year of his contract and probably won't resign. But I thought he was playing good with Reggie Jackson.
Bledsoe was the free agent they just signed this offseason, correct? Did they just sign him?
Bledsoe, did they sign him?
They traded for him.
I think they
traded for him. Yeah.
He's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. But
yeah, because I was going to
say, Patrick Beverly for him.
Yeah, I remember making the No Politics Sports post about them trading for Bledsoe, and I remember our reactions were like, "Why did they fucking trade for Bledsoe?"
Yeah,
or whatever. Or no, was it Patrick Beverly? They traded Beverly and Rondo. That's what it was. And for Bledsoe, and we were just like, are they trying to like flip him in a deal? Like we were like confused, like why they got him. Like we didn't see it as a major like addition, especially because at that point they were talking about potentially trading for Damian Lillard. So we were like, wouldn't having Rondo and Beverly be more beneficial to potentially get Damian Lillard to?
Well, speaking of Damian Lillard, though,
now Bledsoe's gone is my point. So
what does that trade kind of signify to somebody like Damian Lillard? So Norman Powell, for context, he was traded to the Blazers last year in a deal where the Blazers ended up trading
Gary Trent
Jr.,
who just had a crazy week, I should say. He scored 30+ points in like 5 straight games
and hit like over 5 threes.
Hit like 9 threes in one of them shits. He's been beasting. But Gary
every
Trent,
game
I
was
was a player when he got traded last year. I was like, they just traded Gary Trent.
I was confused about that. So Gary Trent Jr. was about to be a free agent. He was a free agent this past summer. So last
year, I get what they were trying to get something from him. Okay.
But they also traded one guy who was about to be a free agent for another guy who was going to be a free agent. So
they also could have just signed Gary Trent because his market value wasn't going to be crazy probably.
So he's restricted.
I don't even know what he signed for.
Okay. He's a restricted free agent, Gary Trent Jr. So that means he was still on his rookie deal, and whoever is his original team can match any offer if they so choose to, and he would automatically go back to his original team. No matter if another team offered him $100 million, if they match that offer, he'll go back to his original team. So the Blazers had control over him if they wanted him that bad. Instead, they signed Norman Powell, who's not a bad player. He could score, and he's a good defender, but he's also a little bit older, and it's like, why did you do this deal in the first place? So somebody laid this out on Twitter, though. They basically said, based on the deals that the Blazers made last year and based on this most recent deal, it says the Blazers traded 2 first-round picks and Trevor Ariza for Robert Covington. The Blazers traded Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood for Norman Powell. And now all the Blazers have to show for those 2 trades is Keon Johnson, Winslow, and a couple months of Eric Bledsoe. So what does that really say to Dame Lillard? Like, I think
definitely doesn't say what he was trying to reiterate throughout the offseason, that he wants to compete and win and have a team that's going to compete for a championship. It definitely doesn't say that.
Yeah, I think Dame is gone now. I think he's finally going to agree. He's finally going to agree. Like, to me, the writing's on the wall. Like, this is the kind of trade that I would say CJ McCollum is probably next to get traded.
There was talks about him. There was rumors about him.
there's
Yeah,
rumors about him. So that even further doesn't say that we want to win a championship anytime soon. And even recently, because Dame's injured, he said, "Why am I going to come back and play if we're not even going to compete?" And then they're just letting guys go.
right.
So even after he heals up, it's like, bro, like I don't want to come play on a team that's not winning nothing.
From what
That
I
that's a
understand,
statement.
part of the reason that the Blazers did this was also to shed Norman Powell's contract. He just signed, I think, a new deal with them. They extended him in the offseason. So because of that, I think they shed salary, they get under the tax threshold, so they don't have to pay as much. So that doesn't bode well for Dame Lillard because Dame Lillard is going to want the supermax extension, which he's going to be up for like in 2 years or a year or so, something like that. And he had already made it known that that's what he's looking for. So it seems like, all right, Dame Lillard is 32 years old, or he's going to be 32 years old. Like the way they're looking and shaping their roster right now, they're probably not going to give him that extension. They're going to ship him. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to happen at this deadline, but probably over the
Yeah,
summer.
definitely not this deadline, but yeah, I can see over the summer. But
Yeah.
all right, let's talk about more about the rumors that was circulating. You was talking about New York,
Yeah.
so
So it's no secret. It's been a tough year coming off of our playoff run last year. So this year has been tough. And right now they're talking about that, Julius Randle is being considered as not a name that's not off the table. That if teams reach out to the Knicks, they're willing to listen. And this is coming off a year where he's another player that just got extended, just like Norman Powell. And maybe we might want to be shedding his contract because, in all reality, he's not living up to the expectations. He's not that same guy that he was last year. And it doesn't have nothing to do with stats. It's a lot to do if you watch the way he plays. It's a lot of the body language, the energy, the passion that he's not showing. Like last year, he had something to prove. When you watch that guy play, you can tell he was trying to prove something. This year, it's like he has a gripe with like the fan base or the I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's the front office, maybe it's the owner. I don't know. Who knows? But anyone who's not blind and got two eyes could see that this shit is not working out. So there's rumors out there that he potentially could be traded, and one of those destinations potentially could be Sacramento.
for who?
For Colin, not Collins, I'm bugging right now.
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox.
Ooh, but then y'all got
Hmm
12 guards.
No, well,
Y'all would send some.
Kemba could be an option. Alec Burks is also a name that was out there. Um, Regardless, we get De'Aaron Fox. Somebody's getting benched, so it
Yeah,
don't even matter anyway.
Yeah,
But
according to was it Brian Windhorst reported that the Knicks have interest in De'Aaron Fox. Ian Bagley, who's a local New York Knick reporter, indicated also that they have interest in him, and he has Kentucky ties. The Knicks organization has ties to Kentucky through their
yep.
president Leon Rose, and William Wesley, Worldwide West, also has Kentucky ties. Or
hmm
their assistant coach, what's his name? Uh,
Kenny
assistant
Payne.
Kentucky coach Kenny Payne, the big man coach,
hmm
former assistant Kentucky coach. So they have Julius Randle, Kentucky player, Kevin Knox, who was recently traded, Kentucky player. All of these guys
Emmanuel
kind of
quickly.
Daniel quickly, Kentucky. So it's like, yeah, the Knicks have a lot of ties. So it's a possibility, especially the way Halliburton has been playing, the way he's been playing without De'Aaron Fox on the floor. De'Aaron
yeah.
Fox makes a lot of
Makes
money.
and it makes it easier for Sacramento to make a move like this and pull the trigger like this because, to be honest, Sacramento got to do something. Like it's obviously not working. Like they have young good guys, but they can't get them all on the same page and produce a winning
Team.
product. So why not? I definitely think Randall actually could fit on that team when I think about it.
Listen, man,
Um,
I will drive Julius Randle to the fucking airport and pack his fucking bag. And I don't even
Yo!
drive, but I will drive that day.
Someone had to say it.
Yeah, listen.
I was
Let's
gonna.
keep it real.
He's looked kind of scrubby when I've seen the Knicks play.
Bro.
Yo.
I remember one night he dropped like 2.
Oh my God.
like,
One
nah.
Yes.
night,
Like,
he's done that
how?
like 7 times this season where he's dropped like 5 points. Yeah.
Bro, seriously, like, but the thing is too, like the first year he played with us, like mind you, I'm not a Julius Randle hater. Like I've watched him in college and March Madness tournament when it was like Jabari Parker was the top guy, and I think I
Of course, he was a
back in
stud
the
in Kentucky. Like,
back in the day, I was like, yo, honestly, I know a lot of people on Jabari, but I think Julius has the talent to be
I agree,
a
Julius
good,
Randle
a
was
top
dope.
guy, top talent as well. He went to the Lakers, watched him struggle, whatever. He was young, benefit of the doubt. Cool. Went to New Orleans, had some success with Anthony Davis, went to the playoffs once, whatever. Cool. Fucking, we get him. And I'm like, I'll give him a chance. I'll give him a shot. I never looked at him as the guy. From the
Mm-mm.
moment we signed him, I thought he's a good starting piece to then eventually maybe go young and then get a guy who will be our star.
Mhm.
First year was bad. I say like, what the fuck was that? Like he came in and he wasn't passing it to certain guys. It was like a big thing where RJ has so many clips of just standing in the corner like I'm open and not even getting passed
RJ
to a
wasn't
look.
even gonna hit it.
Yeah, it don't
Last
matter.
year, RJ wasn't gonna hit it.
It don't even matter.
Listen,
They had to give
Julius,
him the chance.
Julius Randle's a black fucking hole at times. We got to keep it 100.
Yeah, it was
That's what
bad.
he is. He's a
So
fucking black
then
hole.
we get the COVID year, we get the bubble, and then we get a shortened season with no fans. And Randall looks like a man on a fucking mission. And it was also the Kobe year. A lot of people were dedicating stuff to Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Or because no, 2020 was the Kobe year. 2021 was like, okay, now we could officially like celebrate Kobe and honor him in some ways and shit. But I don't know. I felt like Kobe had something to do with Julius Randle going off. Like that's the only explanation for last year. Like higher
Angels in the
powers
outfield.
and shit. Huh?
Angels in the outfield.
Angels in the outfield, like once again, especially, for our New York brother. But but um this year it was just like I called it kind of. I said, I don't know if Julius Randle can repeat or keep up to the standard that we expect now that he had that success. He can very well come back and be year one Julius because it's gonna be hard. Like, bro, dude wasn't missing shit at all that the year we made the playoffs. And
I
it's like
mean, let's keep it
until we got
funky.
to the playoffs, then he didn't fucking do shit because
Then he started
Atlanta
missing shit.
game planned perfectly to fucking shut him
Well,
down.
let's just say you keep saying we, and to be fair, that is not a we because Working Genius, he does not claim to be a Knick fan, so he's not a we.
Yeah, I don't
He's
give a
another.
fuck about y'all struggles.
There you
Right
go. There you go.
Word.
He's having fun with this. He does not give a shit. Denver Nuggets fan. Denver
Yeah.
Nuggets fan.
Denver
Shout out
Nuggets
to
fan,
Jokic,
yeah.
beast.
Fuck
But
Denver. Nah.
but
I don't
yeah,
even take it serious when people say fuck Denver because like it's Denver. Like niggas can't really hate on
How
Denver.
could you hate on Denver?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
what did Denver do
we're
to
so
you?
harmless. But, yeah, continue.
yeah. But
I want no smoke with Jokic and his brothers.
nah, for real. See,
Uh,
like
We might
Jokic,
have to lock Julius in a room with Jokic and his brothers to see what he's really made of. Because the way he's been acting lately, I don't know.
Jokic. Listen, Julius is not coming out that room alive. You put him in there with the Jokic brothers and Jokic. It's
Damn.
just not. It's gonna be rough. I'm not saying Julius is a punk. I'm not saying he won't fight and defend himself, but it's like
Yeah.
Jokic's brothers are really tough.
Yeah. It's like that European tough where it's like, man, like they've seen things, they've been through things.
Steven Adams tough.
Steven Adams is like a character out of Game of Thrones.
That was what I was gonna say. I was like, he's just from the north type shit.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
The guy. He's a wildling type vibe.
Yeah, that's what Mello said. That he was like a Game of Thrones character.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was at the top of my mind when you was about to say it.
Yeah, when they played in OKC. But yeah, just to wrap up the Knicks portion, like basically the Knicks are kind of like a couple games under 500. They've slid back. They're still technically in a play-in picture, but you know, they don't really have much of a chance to get in the playoffs if things don't really change and moves don't really are made. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I don't expect Julius Randle to be traded at the deadline. I think that's a big deal.
I'm gonna wrap it up by saying, like, hopefully whatever does happen from this, we do invest in our development of our young guys more. We go a little younger. De'Aaron Fox is still young. We traded for Cam Reddish. He's young. RJ's young. Mitch is young. IQ's young. Obi's young. Like, let's continue to develop these guys because the success we had the year before, me and you, Erik, not this guy, he's used to success, but the success that the Knicks had.
That's crazy to say, right? I'll take it.
The success they had kind of made me feel like people were already quick to jump ahead and be like, oh shit, now we can get like Dame Lillard. Like, chill. Like, you know, but
all I say is chill out, Knicks fans. Chill out. It's been a frustrating season, but guess what? You got all your draft picks. You got a couple nice young players potentially. It ain't the end of the world. Anybody can be traded. Russell Westbrook has been traded, what, 2-3 times in the last couple of years?
Yeah, every year.
Be easy.
Recently.
Be easy. And he's making like $50 million a year. So we don't got nobody on the team who makes that.
If y'all get De'Aaron Fox, though, for Julius Randle, that's another W for New York.
I'll take that.
That'd be fire. I would say that. I'm not rooting against the Knicks. I'm not rooting against the Knicks. I just don't give a fuck.
But sometimes I don't give a fuck either. So.
I would like to see that. I would like to see that potentially if that was to happen. But yeah, speaking of Russell Westbrook, I don't know why, but I feel like it just reminds me of another person who kind of came up with him when he first came in the league, and it's James Harden. And he's another man who has been traded a couple times as well. And recently, just last year, got traded to the Brooklyn Nets. And now there's rumors of the Sixers trying to go all out and trade for him this year.
So, I mean, Daryl Morey, the GM of the Philadelphia 76ers, was the GM of the Houston Rockets. He's the one that traded for Harden when Harden was still on OKC. He built the Houston Rockets around Harden, believed in him as a number one option, saw something in him. He ended up, working out and ended up being true. Harden, how many MVPs he's won? 2 or 1? I know he's a finalist a couple of times, but I think he's won at least 1. Long story short, Harden is, when it's all said and done, is going to go down as one of the best 2 guards to ever play the game. You got the numbers to back it up. But yeah, since Daryl Morey took the GM job with Philadelphia, last year, everybody thought that it was inevitable that he was going to try to go after James again. At the deadline last year, there was a lot of talks involved with the Sixers and the Rockets. It didn't end up working out. He ends up going to Brooklyn. And now it looks like that James is not really liking the way things have been going with the Nets. Kyrie is now back. I don't know how much that has to do with things. Durant is hurt. So the Nets, apparently, according to reports, kind of are more inclined to do a deal now and have been in discussions with Philadelphia, which is surprising to me. So it's like,
it's weird. It's weird to me how this all played out for Brooklyn because, like, we still haven't even seen these guys be able to play a full season together.
They're still championship contenders right now. Like right now, you could still be they're championship contenders. Like people
think
were
so?
they still probably, if I go on FanDuel right now, they still probably have top 2 odds of all NBA teams to win the chip this
Do
year.
you really believe that though?
I think if they're all healthy, yeah. I
Okay,
think
but
once Durant is back,
but
if Kyrie's playing more, like, yeah.
okay, but that's different, right?
But
So like,
that's the thing, and to me, like, the fact of the matter is, by the time playoffs come around, they're gonna be in a much better situation. I find it kind of, so I'm gonna call James Harden soft for this if the rumors are true. If he's, kind of upset and frustrated with. I mean, he did say he was frustrated, but I don't know if that's Kyrie, whatever. He's frustrated because obviously he wants to be performing better as a team. Cool, right? But if the rumors are true that, like, he's so frustrated to the point that he kind of wants to go somewhere else, that's super soft for James Harden. Because, like, bro, like, you in a
You guys
situation where you got
give it a
KD, right?
shot. Like,
Yeah, give it a fucking chance, bro. Yeah, I understand KD's hurt right now, but he's gonna be back, right? It's not like he's done for the year, you know. Fucking grind it out, right? I know Kyrie's not fucking there every game. Like, Harden's hurt right now, isn't he? Like, Harden just missed like 2 games or something. Like, bro, grind it the fuck out, bro. Why you so, like, you want, like, if
Kevin
that's true,
Durant
that's
knows
how
how
I
to
feel,
pick teammates, right? He really knows how to pick teammates. I mean,
bro.
he aligned with Kyrie Irving. Listen, Kyrie's a phenomenal basketball player. When he plays, he's one of the best in the world. Taking none away. He hasn't been playing this season. Everybody knows his vaccination stance, right? But even before that, like, Kyrie had questions about whether he even wanted to play basketball on a full-time basis. Talked about sitting out for various reasons and stuff, had interest in other fields. So it's like KD makes the commitment. He's the only one that is signed long-term on the Nets out of the big 3. Harden is going to be a free agent this offseason, and so is Kyrie Irving. So I can't think of many other teams outside of the Nets who are going to give Kyrie Irving a max deal, especially with, the perception is this guy could just retire at any moment. Is his heart all the way in basketball and all these things? So it's crazy to me how this Nets situation is unfolding, because when they put Kyrie and Durant together, people automatically penciled them in for a title. And then last year when they made that move, it was like, oh, it's over. And everybody's saying this is unfair. They ended up playing 19 games together so far.
a part of me though
And there
felt
was
like
19-0. No, I'm just playing. I don't even know the record, but you would think, right?
Facts. Should be, but a part of me though felt like luck wouldn't allow it to be successful.
That's like
It's
in fantasy
weird, but
football
like,
when
huh?
Drew had Christian McCaffrey and Saquon the same year, and it's like, the universe ain't gonna let that happen.
Yeah, like
That kind of thing.
it just felt like it. Maybe it's more so says something about the organization.
Well, let me guys ask you a question. So I was having this discussion with somebody relating to these type of deals. These deals to form super teams. You saw the Nets trade away Jared Allen, who is now an all-star for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They traded him away in the deal to make for James Harden. They traded Karis LeVert to the Indiana Pacers in a separate deal. I believe they also didn't they trade Dinwiddie, or they let him go?
They let
him go. They let him walk, right? Because he was a free agent. So they traded a bunch of young pieces and draft picks in order to get James Harden. Now, okay, James Harden is worth that if he's going to make the commitment to stay to the team. So now, if the Nets don't go through with the proposed deal for Ben Simmons, right, and trading Ben Simmons, and they just let Harden walk in the offseason, like, what is the cost of that now to their franchise going forward? Like, how do they make improvements on this team? Like, it's gonna be interesting to see how they navigate.
Listen. Ben Simmons don't want to play neither. so like, what the fuck?
And why is Ben Simmons' name like notoriously tied to the New York market, whether it's the Knicks, because his name also came up in a discussion about potentially him and Tobias being packaged or some shit like that for Julius Randle and more fucking options. And now this Brooklyn fucking situation, bro. If he can't survive in Philly, he will never survive New York.
He could though. He could, and the only way he could
It's because New York got the
With
best
success,
no, the only way he could is if Kyrie and KD are healthy. If they're healthy,
he could
he's
survive
on
more on the
paper.
Brooklyn Nets, probably.
Oh yeah, that's nasty.
with those
If-
terms.
If he not shooting on the Brooklyn Nets because he got Kyrie and KD next to him, that's forgivable. Like,
exactly.
But
just
best
give up
believe-
every shot.
Best believe, even with a healthy Kyrie and KD shooting for him and taking the load and the pressure off him from not having to score, if he has an opportunity to shoot a layup and he's wide open or dunk and he passes, he's gonna get fucking chewed up.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll be in that level. I don't think he'll be in that predicament playing with them if everybody's hitting on all cylinders and they're healthy. Because I think they take so much of the scoring load. I think he would be able to play freely. That's if
bro.
if they put the ball in his hands and let
Gotta
him
hit his
be
free
that
throws.
that stretch that 0.5. They let him be that point center and they play small with him at the 5, KD at the 4, Kyrie back to his point guard position. Like it could be something, but
Okay, but like, think about Harden instead. Like that should
It
be something. That should be
with
even more.
Harden
Like,
more, yeah.
right, like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean?
obviously, I'm not saying that it's.
I mean, obviously, and there's obviously what Ben Simmons could bring defensively.
Oh yeah,
I understand that argument, but
he could defend 1 through 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a you can't overstate that.
Yeah.
Shit, they might need to put him at the 5.
Yeah, I mean, they had Blake Griffin playing at the 5 last year at times, and it wasn't
Even
that
at
bad.
times this year.
Yeah, and he's finished. Crazy. Blake Griffin is like what, 32?
That's crazy.
It is
I
crazy.
remember just yesterday he was jumping over cars in commercials.
I know.
Him and Ben Simmons will make a lot of money just being models.
There it is. That's the takeaway.
On that note,
Ben Simmons and Blake Griffin traded to America's Next Top Model. Nah, but yeah, man. So that's pretty much the trade talk, pretty much the pod talk, the quarter water talk,
Yes, sir.
that real shit, that New York shit, that Denver shit. You know what I'm saying?
I don't rep Denver just because I like the Nuggets. You know, like, I ain't never been there in my life.
I'm fucking around. Imagine one day we like have like a fan base, a following. Everyone thinks you from Denver. We just go with that for like every episode. Like, yo, shout out to my man in Denver.
Denver zone.
Nah, but yeah, man. So, man, what a week. A lot of things we talked about and shit, and you know, I look forward to putting this out, getting the feedback from the people, you know what I'm saying, and continuing to stay consistent with this and talking with you guys next week. I feel like, you know, this was a great episode. We had a lot of laughs, we had a lot of serious conversations. And
Did we?
we did actually. We talked on a lot
I think
of
we attempted
shit.
to.
I'm the only one that kind of like joked around and
Nah,
broke the ice. Else this would have been a straight CNN episode.
Word.
Nah, but yeah, man, I appreciate you guys, you know, as always, and I'll see y'all next week. You know, if y'all want to sign off, you know, put your handles out there where the people can follow y'all, you know. I am your boy Faking No Moves. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, you know, all that cool shit, you know. Faking No Moves. FAKINNOMOVES. Holla.
Yeah. I'm Erik BNYC. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Erik BNYC, Erik with a K.
I'm WorkinGenius, WorkinGenius, just like you see it on the screen. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on YouTube, and make sure y'all follow No Politics Network on Instagram.
Definitely.
No Politics Sports on Instagram. No Politics Network on YouTube as well.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, sir. Show
You
us
know what
that
I'm
love.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
And that's all I got.